Greetings and salutations, humans of Earth, Red Wild Rider, here with you one more time. We are going to go through the new cards in the Commander 2021 decks that came out with the Strixhaven set. Let's take a look and see what's going on in these decks with the new cards and the new packaging. Still this gigantic packaging, but it's all paper. And by the way, you have these little punch outs for counters if you're interested in them.
Nice, okay.
Okay, and I don't know what the heck that's supposed to punch out for. It's a magic symbol. I don't know what's on the back of it. And
It might be to get the deck out.
maybe. They're coming close. More excess packaging, but it's all paper, so it's all recyclable. Yay!
How many trees would they have to kill to make it recyclable?
Well, the trees are going to die anyway, so...
I suppose. Life counter?
Yep, life counter. All right, so let's examine the contents, the new cards in the White-Black Commander deck. We're going to hit all the Commander decks. We're just going to go through the new cards, not the reprints. I'm not going to talk about how good the decks are. I'm just going to talk about the new cards and how good they actually are for the Commander format. So, start off with Brina the Demagogue, one of the new commanders, 1 white black, for a 1/3 legendary bird warlock, flying. Whenever a player attacks one of your opponents, if that opponent has more life than another of your opponents, that attacking player draws a card, and you put 2+1/+1 counters on a creature you control. What'd you say to me before, Joe, when you read this card?
You used the word opponent too many times in the same sentence.
Yeah, that's a lot of opponents there for only one opponent. But it is a pretty cool ability. It does entice your opponents into attacking each other instead of attacking you, which is generally a good thing.
It is generally a good thing, but they are getting the card draw off of it. So unless you have something to hit them with, they are getting the extra card draw.
You are playing black, so you can make them discard things.
That is true.
So, you know, it's okay. It's okay. You have ways to deal with this in black. So it's actually, I think it's a pretty fun commander. I think you could probably build a pretty fun deck around it.
Probably. I mean, looking at the commander decks myself, that was one of the commanders I'd probably be playing myself.
Yeah, definitely. Very good commander. We also have Feliza, Fang of Silverquill. My voice is starting to go. This is going to be great. I have more videos to do. 2 white black for a 3/2 legendary vampire wizard with flying and mentor, which is an ability we haven't seen in a little while. I think it was from the recent Return to Ravnica garbage. It wasn't garbage. I'm just saying stuff because I don't care. Anyway, flying and mentor, and whenever a non-token creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, create X tapped 2/1 white and black inkling creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of counters it had on it. That could be a very interesting card if you're playing in a counters deck. I might play this in Atraxa, but obviously it's going to be in the 99 and not the Commander. But it is a very interesting card because Mentor lets you put counters on things, so that's always a plus.
Does that get around board wipes?
I mean, if you board wipe and it's on the board with a bunch of non-token creatures, you're gonna get the creatures after the board wipe. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's take a look at some of the new cards here. Those are not new cards. They're from Strixhaven. We have Study Hall, which is the one card that every deck has in this Commander 2021 set. So we're going to talk about it very quickly. You could add a colorless to your mana pool, or you pay 1 and tap it to add 1 mana of any color. When you spend this mana to cast your commander, you scry X, where X is the number of times it's been cast from the command zone. It's another one of these cute little common cards they like to put out there to give you some benefit from playing your commander multiple times. So for some commanders, it's going to be really good, and for some commanders, it's probably going to be pretty bad. So it really depends on who your commander is. The more times you cast your commander, the better it is. But it does cost you mana to do it. And this is something, I forget which one of the cards it was that did it, but I was playing it in one of my decks, and I realized the first time I went to activate, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I got to pay a mana to do this? Yeah. What was I thinking? Like, why am I playing this? But scrying X is not bad. If you're casting your commander a number of times, scry X does help.
True.
So here are some. These are old cards. Let's get to the new stuff. I think the new stuff's in the back. I think that's up. Nope. Here we go. So here are some of the new cards. We have Combat Calligrapher. It's 3 and a white for a 3/3 bird cleric with flying. Inklings can attack you or planeswalkers you control. Whenever a player attacks one of your opponents, that attacking player creates a tap 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying that's attacking that opponent.
Again, so, a lot of opponents.
Well, once again, though, tying into the theme of making your opponents attack your other opponents and you being protected somewhat from what they're doing.
True.
Because the Inklings can't attack you ever, as long as you control Combat Calligrapher, of course. Which is, of course, always the issue, is holding on to them long enough to make them worthwhile. We also have Guardian Archon at 4 white. It's a 5/5 Archon with flying. As Guardian Archon enters the battlefield, secretly choose an opponent.
Nice.
At a cost of revealing the player you chose, you and target permanent you control each gain protection from the chosen player until end of turn. Activate only once. It's cute. It's 6 mana for a 5/5. If you're playing a combo deck, this might be interesting. Protect the combo piece. But other than that, I don't know. Like, I think it's a good card for a combo deck, but it's bad in a lot of other situations.
Yeah, I can see that.
Only being able to do it once is kind of silly. And you have to choose the right player, too, in the combo deck, which is tricky. So, I don't know. I don't think so. Nils, Discipline Enforcer, 2 and a white, 2/2 Human Cleric, legendary. At the beginning of your end step for each player, put a +1/+1 counter on up to one target creature that player controls. Each creature with one or more counters on it can attack you or planeswalkers you control unless its controller pays X, where X is the number of counters on that creature. Now that's interesting because this could screw over a lot of decks like my Atraxa deck.
True.
Because you won't even be trying and I won't be able to attack you. But then again, I'll just kill the 2/2. So there is that. But it's not a bad card. I can see a lot of tax decks playing it. Another new one, Promise of Loyalty. 4 and a white sorcery. Each player puts a vow counter on a creature they control and sacrifices the rest. Each of those creatures can attack you or planeswalkers you control for as long as it has a vow counter on it. I like this. I am perfectly fine with this. This is basically putting a vow enchantment on one of each of your opponent's creatures, killing the rest of the board, and now their creatures that remain, they can't attack you. So now only the stuff they rebuilt with can actually affect you. I like it. I'm going to play it.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. We have Scholarship Sponsor, 3 and a white, 3/3 Human Advisor. When it enters the battlefield, each player who controls fewer lands than the player who controls the most lands searches their library for a number of basic land cards, less than or equal to the difference, puts those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffles. So it's basically letting everybody catch up to the player with the most lands. Once again, Wizards, stop it with the everybody on the white cards when you're doing these symmetrical effects. You got to make it better for the guy playing the card than for the people that the player is playing against. You can't give the opponent the same amount of stuff you give the player. That is incorrect. Nobody's going to play these cards. Stop it. Am I talking nonsense here? Because really, it's absolutely silly idea that they think that this is good.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. I don't know who's going to play those.
Yeah, I am very much not a fan. Another new card, Author of Shadows. It's a 3/3 Shade Warlock for 4 and a black. When it enters the battlefield, exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. Choose a non-land card exiled this way. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. You may spend mana as though mana of any color to cast that spell. Seems fine. Seems fine. You might get something good out of it.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I might play this in like a green-black deck where I could constantly have it like exit and re-enter.
Right.
Any kind of blink deck, any kind of sacrifice reanimate deck, it's good. But the only problem is that it's very diminishing returns after the first time you do it.
Pretty much.
Which kind of takes away from that a little bit. Unless you're milling, which then makes it more interesting. Because maybe that's the correct function, is a mill deck with a little bit of a sacrifice recursion bit to allow you to get free spells.
Maybe.
Yeah, now we're in Magical Christmas Land, though. Let's put this card down. Bold Plagiarist. Well, if you're going to plagiarize, you better be bold. 3 and a black for a 2/2 Vampire Rogue. Flash. Whenever an opponent puts one or more counters on a creature they control, they put the same number and kind of counters on Bold Plagiarist. Oh my god, anybody plays this against Atraxa, it's dead. Instant death. Instant death. I will move heaven and earth to get a kill spell to remove this. Although it would be funny if I put it in my Atraxa deck and waited for somebody else to start putting counters on things. Whoopsie. Cunning Rhetoric. 2 and black for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent attacks you and or one or more planeswalkers you control, exile the top card of that player's library, and the theme of play that card as long as it remains exiled, spend mana of any color. For 3 mana, that's really good. That's a good tax card. That seems like it's going to go into Daxos.
Yeah.
Thane the Broker. 2 and black for a 3/3 human warlock. Tap, sacrifice a creature, put 2/1/1 counters on that creature. Tap, remove a counter from a creature you control, create a treasure token. Tap, sacrifice an artifact. Create a 2/1 white and black inkling. Creature token with flying. And 3 and a black. Untap Thane the Broker. I mean, do you realize what this does?
Does a lot.
It's super silly because the thing to realize about this card is, okay, tap and sacrifice a creature to put counters on another creature, right?
Okay.
Your next ability removes counters to create a creature, to create a treasure, sorry. Next ability sacrifices an artifact, the treasure, to create a creature, and the first ability sacrifices a creature to create the counters.
So it's one endless loop.
If you could keep untapping this, it's an endless loop.
Tapping, untapping, it could be an infinite combo somewhere.
If you have infinite mana, it's an infinite combo. I mean, you'd have to have something else like Perforos maybe or something to trigger on the creatures entering the battlefield or when the creatures die. You would have to have something that has an extra effect to stack onto this to make this profitable.
Yeah, entering or leaving the battlefield trigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Incarnation Technique. 4 and a black. Sorcery. Demonstrate. New ability for commander. When you cast the spell, you may copy it if you do choose an opponent to also copy it. So you either get 1 or 2/1 an opponent controls. And the card says, mill 5 cards and return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. This might be fun if you know somebody's not playing a lot of creatures in their deck.
Yeah.
Mill 5 cards and then return nothing from the battlefield? Go ahead, you can copy my spell. I'll return 2 creatures.
Sounds like something you would play against my Bruno.
Very, very likely. Keen Duelist. 1 and a black for a 2/2 human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, you and target opponent each reveal the top card of your library. You each lose life equal to the mana value of the card revealed by the other player. You each put the revealed card into your hand. So it's sort of like a weird twist on Dark Confidant. I think it's kind of cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
I think sometimes you're going to really love having this on the field, and sometimes you're going to be like, oh my god, no, this is scary. You might have to choose your opponents wisely. Stinging Study. 4 and a black for an instant. You draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the mana value of a commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone. Exactly.
Depends on your commander, really.
Yep. And we have Ink Shield, 3 white, black, instant, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you this turn. For each 1 damage prevented this way, create an Inkling creature token.
That could be funny.
That would be pretty good. I mean, it's 5 mana, so it's a little expensive, but that's fun. And then we have Tempting Contract. This is interesting. 4 mana, artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent may create a treasure token. For each opponent that does, you create a treasure token.
So basically everybody gets 1 treasure token, but you can potentially get 3.
Yeah. How much do you want that treasure token? You want me to get one too?
Depends how bad I'm color screwed.
Yeah, that's usually the answer.
Do I really need that 1 blue, or do I really need that 1 black?
Yep. So the rest of everything in here is reprints, and like I said, we're not going to go through the reprints. But what I do want to get to is the foil Giganto card over here, which actually looks like it's the etched foil stuff that they're doing now. It looks very similar to the etched foils from the Commander Legends. But this card is mad thick, boy.
So now that's the Commander card. Is that going to fit in regular sleeves?
It will. It's the same size as a regular card, but it's just mad thick. That's it. Not the worst idea. Better than the oversized card, frankly. I mean, most people had no idea what to do with the damn oversized card, so I mean, this is kind of like instantly better.
Yeah, I get that.
All right. So let's move along to box number 2. We're going to do this one. And since my voice is starting to go, we're going to move a little faster.
Need a drink?
No, I'm fine, actually. Just it's been a long day. Am I throwing away anything else over here? No, that's the counter stuff. Okay. That was a little bit better. Okay. Let's take this piece out. Let's just do that. That's fine. Okay. I guess we'll put that in there too. All right, so we have Zaphi Thunder Conductor, which actually has a very bad naughty misprint on it because they actually wrote Zaphi Thunder Collector on the card somewhere else in the ability description. But this guy's pretty interesting. It's kind of like Mile the Anima, but for spells. So whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, scry 1. If the spell's mana value is 5 or greater, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental token. If the spell's mana value is 10 or greater, Zaphi deals 10 damage to an opponent chosen at random.
Okay.
It's kind of cool. Kind of interesting. You probably do some fun stuff with this. Play some like really crazy expensive spells. A little line going down there. Veyron, Voice of Duality, the other commander in the deck. 1 blue-red for a 2/2 Efreet Wizard that the camera doesn't want to poop on for whatever reason. There we go. And it's going to do it again. Very good. So Magecraft, whenever you cast a copy, it's going to get +1/+1 until end of turn. If you casting or copying an instant or sorcery spell causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers 1 additional time. That's really fun with Magecraft and Prowess and all sorts of other stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I very much approve of that. All right, let's get to the new cards. Those are the Strixhaven cards, which we're going to skip. And Study Hall. All right. Let's get to the new stuff. All right, there we go. So we have Dazzling Sphinx, 3 blue, 4/5 Flying Sphinx. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery. Cast it without paying its mana cost. Then cards go on the bottom in a random order. Yep, seems all right. You're casting spells from your opponent's library. It's good. Inspiring Refrain. Draw 2 cards for 6 mana. Draw 2 cards, exile it with 3 time counters on it. But you're probably going to be suspending it for 2 and a blue.
Probably.
And it's suspend 3, so you'll get it on turn 6, and it'll keep recurring. So you'll draw 2 cards every 3rd turn, which is okay.
Could be worse.
It could be a lot worse. Use Vortex, X and double blue, sorcery, exile top X cards of your library, cast an instant or sorcery with mana value X or less from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest of them onto the bottom of your library. Put the exiled instant and sorcery cards that weren't cast away into your hand. Very important. Almost missed that part. The rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If you're playing Spellslinger, that's amazing. It's going to draw you a lot of cards. Octavia, Living Thesis. Finally get to this one. 8 blue, 8/8 Elemental Octopus. This spell costs 8 less to cast if you have 8 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard. Ward 8. Magecraft. You give target creature base power and toughness 8/8 until end of turn. That seems really ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty good actually.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Sly Instigator. 3 and a blue for a 2/4 human wizard. Pay a blue and tap. Until your next turn, target creature and opponent controls can't be blocked. Goad that creature so they can't attack you. Makes sense. Fun little card. If you're doing some sort of shenanigans where you want to let that happen, I mean, go right ahead and just force your opponents to attack each other. Here's our demonstrate card for the deck creative technique. 4 and a red. Sorcery, shuffle your library, then reveal cards from the top of it. So you reveal a non-land card, exile that card, put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. So you either get 1 free spell or 2 free spells and give your opponent a free spell. If you have ways to prevent your opponent from casting spells, maybe in a red-white deck, that would be good. But otherwise, I don't know. Fiery Encore, 4 and a red. For sorcery, discard a card, then draw a card. When you discard a non-land card this way, Fiery Encore deals damage equal to that card's mana value to target a creature or planeswalker. And Storm. And the Storm part is really good because you can control, to a certain degree, how many times you do this, and you can also control what cards you discard. So that seems really strong. Inferno Project, 6 and a red. For 0/0 elemental with trample, enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the total mana value of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. That's off the chain. That is off the chain. That's got trample. That's pretty good. Radiant Performer, 3 red for a 2/2 human wizard with flash. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, choose target spell or ability that targets only a single permanent or player, and you copy it for each other permanent or player that spell or ability could target. Each copy targets a different one of those permanents and players. This is Radiate on a stick, and it's ridiculous. It's so good. It's going to be so much fun doing so much dumb stuff to the board with Radiant Performer. Go for it. Rihanna, Fire Dancer, 3 red for a 3/4 human wizard, legendary. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create X tokens that are copies of another target creature you control, where X is 1 plus the number of instant and sorcery spells you've cast this turn. They gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. I don't know how many instant and sorceries you play in Girid, but that might be fun.
I think Girid plays a fair amount of them, actually.
Well, there you go. Rousing Refrain, here's our suspend card. Oh, well, another suspend card. 3 red. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end, and it keeps recurring with the suspend. So this is a really strong card, I think. I think a lot of red decks are going to want to play this just to get that extra mana boost every third turn. And if it inspires your opponents to just dump a lot of stuff out of their hand and you have ways to deal with it, that's even better. So I like it. Surge to Victory, 4 red. Exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Creatures you control get +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is that card's mana value. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player this turn, copy the exiled card. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Well, that's a lot. That's really funny. Yeah, we get a lot of copies of that card too. So, especially if you give them trample or something, it seems pretty good.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we have Reinterpret, 2 blue. Instant counter target spell. You may cast a spell with an equal or lesser mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. I think this is fun, but I don't think it's necessarily amazing. I think this is going to be a lot of fun in constructed formats, but I don't think it's going to be a lot of fun in Commander. The fact that it has to be equal or lesser value, unless you're countering something really expensive, you're not going to really get much out of it. And finally, Elementalist Palette. 3 mana for an artifact. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, oh, my friend Mike would love to see this. Put 2 charge counters on Elementalist Palette. He loves X spells. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, or you can tap it to add colorless for each charge counter on Elementalist Palette. Spend this mana only on costs that contain X. This is so absurd. I think somebody's going to build a deck around this eventually, and they'd be smart to do so. This might be pretty fun. I'm trying to think who you would use it with. Probably, oh, what's that card's name from Shadowmoor? The one that gives you the Roshin Meanderer. Yeah, that's the card. All right, and that's it for the red blue deck. Aside from our thick commander boy down there, we stack these cards up and put them in a box, and move on to the next commander deck. All right, next we have the Witherbloom Witchcraft deck. So let's go through this. Just flinging the trash off to the side here. No problem. We'll go get it later. Is cool. So after you heard Joe was still here. Well, after I opened the Prismari deck, Joe had to leave. So it's just me now here with you. And I'll be going still through the new cards and the rest of the commander decks because that's what the video is here for. It's just now it's just going to be me and not me and Joe. So let's get to it. Now we have the green-black deck. So Willow Dusk Essence Seer is our main commander. For 1 black green, legendary Dryad Druid, 3/3, 1 in tap. Choose another target creature. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of life you gained this turn or the amount of life you lost this turn, whichever is greater. Activate only as a sorcery. Well, another attracts a friend. That seems pretty good. I'm totally digging it because we can get lots of counters around the table very quickly. And it's a 3/3 for 3, so really strong. I'm pretty sure you're going to pronounce this name Guillaume. Guillaume, Master Chef. He's a Troll Warlock. 2 black-green for a 5/3 with Trample. At the beginning of your end step, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of non-token creatures you had enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Pay 1 and sacrifice a food to give a creature indestructible until end of turn and tap it. So it's the regeneration replacement, and yep. Makes food tokens. If you're playing a lot of creatures, it seems pretty good. Black-green decks will certainly like this card, especially if they're that recurring style of deck. So we have a couple of cards from the Strixhaven set, and let's get to the goodies. Get to the new stuff. All right. So we've got Blightmound, 2 and a black for an enchantment. Attacking pests you control, get +1/+0 and have menace. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Seems pretty fun if you're going to make a lot of pests. If you make a lot of pests, go for it. Do it. Play this, play blacks, play all the fun stuff. Make lots of pests. Be a pest. Everybody loves a pest. Anyway, Essence Pulse, 3 and a black for a sorcery. You gain 2 life. Each creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. Yeah, seems alright. If you're playing a life gain deck with this, that can get pretty nutty. It's pretty much a board wipe in a lot of circumstances. So I like it. Definitely going to see some play. Definitely going to see a lot of play. Marshland Bloodcaster, 4 and a black for a 3/5 Vampire Warlock with flying and 1 black tap. Rather than pay the mana cost of the next spell you cast this turn, you may pay life equal to that spell's mana value. Wait, so this is better for Exian mana once a turn? Seems alright. I am in favor of this, especially if I have a way to give it haste. Yes, please. Tivash Gloom Summoner, 4 and a black for a 4/4 legendary human warlock with lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, you may pay X life, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. If you do, create an XX black demon creature token with flying. That's nice. That is very nice. So if you gain life, you can choose, you know what? I don't want the life. I want demon. Give me demon. Ah, ooh, I should have thought about doing that. Anyway, Vainrich Coven, 2 and a black for a 3/3 vampire warlock with menace. Whenever you gain life, you may pay black. If you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Boring. I mean, not horrible, but not exciting either. Blossoming Bog Beast, 4 and a green for a 3/3 beast. Whenever it attacks, you gain 2 life. Then creatures you control gain trample and +X/+X until end of turn, or X the amount of life you gained this turn. Now this I like. This is pretty interesting because giving your entire team +X/+X and trample at least +2/+2, if not more, depending on what you're doing. If your team is pretty beefy already, I mean, this is just going to make them really powerful. And the fact that they get trample too, that's the icing on the cake. Without trample, it's not good. With trample, beautiful. Ezerut Channeler, 5 and a green for a 4/6 Treefolk Druid with reach. Creature spells you cast cost X less to cast, or X the amount of life you gain this turn. Tap it to gain 2 life. Well, they want you to know that gaining life is the key to succeeding in this deck, and they're beating you over the head with it. Our Demonstrate spell is Healing Technique, 3 and a green. For a sorcery, it lets you return target card from your graveyard to your hand. You gain life equal to that card's mana value. And you exile Healing Technique. Well, if you've exiled all the cards from your opponent's graveyard, yeah, your opponent can copy it all he wants, but he's not going to be able to do anything with it, so it sounds good. Yeah, we're gonna be playing this somewhere. Pest Infestation, XX green. Sorcery, destroy up to X target artifacts and/or enchantments. Create twice X 1/1 black and green pest creature tokens with the usual pest ability. That's kind of cute. I mean, XX green is, I guess 3 mana, you destroy an artifact or enchantment. Why did it lose focus all of a sudden? Destroy an artifact or enchantment and get 2 1/1s. That's not bad. It's pretty good, actually. I guess the more you put into X, the better it gets. But I can only see you putting so much into X. Not bad. Not bad. Definitely playable. Especially because the scalable factor really helps. Sproutback Trudge, 7 green for a 9/7 fungus beast. This spell costs X less to cast, where X the amount of life you gain this turn. Surprise. It's got trample. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, you may cast Sproutback Trudge from your graveyard. If you're playing life gain, you got to play this guy. There's no reason not to. And that's as simple as it gets. If you're not playing life gain, you probably don't play him. Trudge Garden, 2 and a green. Enchantment, whenever you gain life, you may pay 2 mana. If you do, create a 4/4 green fungus beast creature token with trample. Alrighty. Again, if you're gaining life, fine. You're paying 2. But you are getting 4/4 out of it. Really depends on what you're going to do. Is it good? Yes. I don't know if I'd actually play it, but it's not the worst. Eudora Grave Gardener, 4 and a green for a 5/5 legendary Treefolk Druid. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may return it to the battlefield face down under its owner's control. It's a forest land. That's interesting, and this, you see, this right away I start thinking of stealing your opponent's creatures and finding interesting ways to kill them. The only thing is, yes, you do give your opponent's forests, but it's probably not helping them as much as helping you getting rid of their creatures. And it prevents them from reanimating the creatures as well, which is actually very interesting because they're face down on the battlefield and can't flip over. So yeah, I see Eudora Grave Gardener seeing a lot of play, and I'm sure we'll find some way to make an actual commander out of this. We have a Revival Experiment. 4 black green for a sorcery. For each permanent type, return up to 1 card of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield. You lose 3 life for each card returned this way. Exile Revival Experiment. That's pretty interesting. If you're even gaining just a little bit of life, you're more than willing to put like 12 life into this. And you ever return multiple things at one time? Yeah, seems pretty good. I mean, there is a cap on it because there's only so many permanent types. But hey, we can get there. Seems pretty good. I'm in. And Witch's Clinic, a new land, taps to add Coalesce, and you pay 2 and tap it to give your commander lifelink until end of turn. You know, I may have to put this in my Co-Select deck. I will gain 12 life. Sure. Sounds good. I'm in on that plan. All right. That's it for the new cards. Let's move on to the next deck. So put this away. And let's grab the Lorehold Legacies deck. Now, this deck is the one that everybody is high on because Osgir the Reconstructor is apparently super ridiculous and broken. So we'll take a look at him in a moment and see what he does, Mr. Osgir. So, Osgir the Reconstructor, 2 red-white. For a 4/4 legendary giant artificer with vigilance. And 1, sacrifice an artifact. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And X tap, exile an artifact card, mana value X from your graveyard. Create 2 tokens that are copies of the exiled card. Oh, yep, okay, yep. Artifact, copying, doubling, yep. Broken, super broken. Super broken. Yeah, it's pretty silly. Okay. Yeah, that's super pretty silly. Who thought that was a good idea? Alibu, Ancient Witness, 3 in red-white for a legendary artifact creature golem. 4/5. Other artifact creatures you control have haste. Whenever one or more artifact creatures you control attack, Alibu, Ancient Witness deals X damage to any target and you scry X, where X is the number of tapped artifacts you control. First of all, that is some nice art. That could be a pretty decent ability if you're going wide with artifacts. Can you go wide with artifacts? I'm pretty sure you can. So I'm pretty sure that's good. See, that was simple. That was not a problem. Hey, there's a Darksteel mutation in here. All right. All righty now. Let me take a little sip of beverage over here, which I'm going to need more of soon. All right, there's some fun stuff in this deck in addition to that. Angel of the Ruins, 5 white, artifact creature Angel, 5/7 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 2 target artifacts and/or enchantments, and has plain cycling too, which is always kind of cute, but this is just straight up good. Artifact decks, Angel decks, I mean, they got to be white, so there's always that downside because, you know, we live in a time right now where Secret Rendezvous is great white card drawing. Yeah, I'm not going to let that go. Archaeomancer's Map, 2 in white for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 2 basic playing cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player controls more lands than you, you put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Now, this is good for white. This is stuff that white should be doing. Not give me stuff and my opponent stuff. How about when my opponent gets more stuff than I have, I get to catch up. That's making white better. This is the good white card. Not this garbage. Garbage. I just threw it. I don't care. I hope it goes into my fan. Dumb card. This is good. More stuff like this. Bronze Guardian, 4 and a white. Artifact creature golem for a star 5 with double strike and ward 2. Other artifacts you control have ward 2, and Bronze Guardian's powers equal the number of artifacts you control. I mean, a super obvious card is obvious. Play lots of artifacts. Play fun games, win fun prizes. The super linear cards. Digsite Engineer, 2 and a white for Dwarf Artificer, 3/3. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token. With this creature, it gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. I mean, if you're playing a lot of artifacts, you're making a lot of mana, go right for it. This was the first demonstrate card that was previewed. There's some shenanigans you could do with this. So I think if you're willing to do shenanigans, this is going to be a card you're going to play. But if you're not, like, again, this is another one of those very political demonstrate cards. Because you know, what your opponent does with it is going to factor into whether or not you allow your opponent to make the copy and do anything with it. So, but it can be pretty fun, I'm sure. We have Lochiel, Clockwork Scholar, 2 and a white for a 2/4 legendary Elephant Artificer. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking artifact creatures you control. Whenever one or more artifact creatures enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. I mean, yeah, you get to only draw 1 card a turn off of it. I mean, I guess because you could do a lot of dumb things with artifacts, but not bad. Not bad. Definitely, if you want to make mono white artifacts or any white artifacts. Oh, the infamous monologue tax. Let me say it once more. I know a lot of people have been saying it. I'm going to add my voice to the chorus. This card sucks. Why does this card suck? Number one, it's easy to play around. Play one big spell, nobody gets a treasure token. Another reason why it sucks. You get it maybe once a turn, maybe. Your opponents are not going to be playing 2 spells on their opponent's turn. In most cases. So the odds of you getting more than 1 treasure off of this in a turn is very small, and the odds of you getting 1 off of this is really small. Once again, if this is what you think is going to make white better, no. Yes, Smothering Tithe is a little too powerful. Monologue Tax is the exact opposite. It's a little underpowered. Audacious Reshapers, 2 and a red for a 3/3 Human Artificer. Tap and sacrifice an artifact. To reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an artifact card, put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Audacious Reshapers deals damage to you equal to the number of cards revealed this way. Play more artifacts, do better card. That's fine. We'll be playing Audacious Reshapers in any red deck that plays a lot of artifacts. Balmage's Bracers, 2 and a red for an equipment. Equipped creature has haste. Whenever ability of equipped creature is activated, if it isn't a mana ability, you may pay 1. I am so stumbling right now. It's so bad. If you do copy that ability, you may choose new targets for the copy. So it's another Illusionist Bracers kind of thing where you get to copy activated abilities. It's fine. We're going to play it. We're going to copy lots of stuff with it. Cursed Mirror, 2 and a red for an artifact. Add red to your mana pool with a tap. And as it enters the battlefield, you may have it become a copy of any creature on the battlefield until end of turn, except it has haste. That's fun. That's interesting. I approve of this. You get a copy of a creature for a turn. Any creature on the battlefield, so it could be one of your opponent's creatures. And then after that, it's just a mana rock. But you know what? That's fine. Copy Blightsteel Colossus. Somebody got tapped. Oh, look. Attack the player with Blightsteel Colossus. Kill him. Get rid of him. And then it's mana rock. That's fine. You just, took a guy off the table for nothing. Fun. I like it. Good times. Lelia the Blade Reforged. 2 and a red 2/2 Legendary Spirit Warrior with haste. That is fantastic artwork, by the way. Who's that? I gotta look at that closer. Wisnu 10. I hope I'm saying it right. So whenever Lelia attacks, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Whenever you exile one or more cards from your library and or your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on Lelia. Yep, seems pretty good. It seems pretty good. Does tie very heavily into the Strixhaven red-white exiling card from your graveyard theme, which we don't see a lot of in other red-white Envisions, but it's still pretty good, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be playing it. Ruin Grinder, up. Our Mountain Cycling guy, 5 in a red. Mountain Cycling, 7/4 construct, artifact creature, menace. I'm reading it all backwards. Why? Because I can. When it dies, each player may discard their hand and draw 7. I don't think we'll be playing that. Wake the Past! 5 red, white. For a sorcery, return all artifact cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until end of turn. Well, that's just broken. And Triplicate Titan. This is the funky cousin to Wormcoil Engine. 9 mana, 9/9 Golem, Flying Vigilance Trample, and you get a 3/3. You get 3/3/3s. Each one has one of the 3 abilities. It's a bigger Wormcoil Engine. This is going to be fun. People are going to be playing it. Faux show. It's going to happen. That's the red-white deck, and only one more deck to go, thankfully. I can't wait to take a break. Rest my voice before we do the 3 set booster boxes I've got. Well, looks like I'll be here for a while. You guys get to do this all broken up. I'm doing it all in one day because I'm crazy. Woohoo! So let's go to Quandrix. As I've mentioned before, Quandrix is my jam right here, so looking forward to showing off the cards from in here. Scoop and toss. You can tell these are my cards. The other 2 commander decks I opened were actually Joe's, and he took them home with him. So I had to like pause the video so we could finish up and do some exchange and whatever. And yeah, like you can see like Joe's stuff. I'm like I put away nice and neat in the box. My stuff I'm like fling, 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 throw it all around. Doesn't matter where it lands. So our first legendary creature is actually a pair of creatures, Adrix and Nev, Twin Casters, 2 green, blue for a legendary Merfolk Wizard, 2/2, Ward 2. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. Well, of course, doubling, doubling, doubling. Twin Caster, double, double, double. Lots of 2s on the card, by the way. 5 2s on the card. 6 if you count 6, 7, 8 if you count the ones in the bottom line there of the card. Interesting. Essex Fractal Bloom. 4 green blue for a legendary fractal that the camera refuses to boop on. 4/4 fractal flying. The first time you create one or more tokens during each of your turns, you may instead choose a creature other than Essex Fractal Bloom and create that many tokens that are copies of that creature. Well, once again, letting you create copies of your opponent's creature tokens can be very, very important. So perhaps this could be a very interesting card in the right combination. Maybe this will be the green-blue deck that I finally build, where I do fun things by copying other people's creatures. Interesting. Anyway, let's cut down to the new cards. We can put a wrap on this video, and I can go rest for a few. Okay, those are all the new cards. So we've got Commander's Insight. That's better. X blue 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 for an instant. Target player draws X cards plus an additional card for each time they've cast the commander from the command zone in this game. I'll be targeting myself with this, thank you. And yes, this is it's pretty decent. I mean, it's not going to replace like Blue Sun Zenith or any other similar cards like that, but it may well be a nice little budget version, I guess. Curiosity Crafter, 3 in a blue for a 3/3 bird wizard. The once again camera does not boop. Wow. My camera must be tired. 3 in a blue for a 3/3 bird wizard. Flying, you have no maximum hand size. Whenever a creature token you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Who plays tokens in blue, though? That's a question. Dika, Fractal Theorist. 4 in a blue for a legendary human wizard. 3/3 Magecraft. Magecraft trigger gets you a fractal creature token where the counter is equal to the spell's mana value. And 3 in a blue. Target creature token can't be blocked this turn. Here's the card you play with the fractals to push the fractals into the opponent's face and go, especially when you play the one off of Body of Knowledge. So I wonder, is Body of Knowledge in here? That'd be funny if it is. No, it's not. They're not cool enough to put a brand new Mythic in a Commander deck. Perplexing Test. I think I've given a few of those in my day. 3 blue for an instant. Choose one, return all creature tokens to their owner's hands, or return all non-token creatures to their owner's hands. I think I'll be doing the second one more often than the first one, but the first one definitely comes in handy as well. It's pretty good bounce spell if you have a way to make them discard. If you're playing like a wheel deck or something, it's fine. Good card. We'll see you around sometime, buddy. Replication Technique, 4 in a blue. For a sorcery, demonstrate and create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control. Oh, this is one I'm not letting my opponents get their hands on at all, period, not a full stop. Unless they have nothing threatening on the field. Then go ahead, please copy it. But you have to be set up for this, and that's the issue. I don't know how much blue is going to do this. But it's target permanent you control, which does add a little bit of interest to this, because you could, for example, copy a Planeswalker that maybe you've used a lot of counters on, and hey, you get a new version of that Planeswalker with the counters on it. And again, we're anti-booping technique over here. Okay. Spawning Kraken, 5 in a blue for a 6/6 Kraken. Release the Kraken. Whenever a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent you control deals combat damage to a player, create a 9/9 blue Kraken. Yep. Absolutely. I will build the Kraken deck sooner or later. Theoretical Duplication, 2 in a blue. Instant, whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control this turn, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Oh my god, I love this card. I can't wait to play this card. This is going to be so much fun. Oh, you're going to play creatures? Be a shame if I'm going to get those creatures too. Fractal Harness. When it enters the battlefield, you get a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. You put X +1/+1 counters on it. Attach Fractal Harness to it. Fractal Harness costs X 2 and a green. So you could pay 0 for X. That's fine. You just don't get the token. Whenever a equipped creature attacks, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. Equip 2. Hi, Atraxa. Guardian Augmenter, 2 in a green for a 2/2 Troll Wizard with Flash. Commander creatures you control get +2/+2. Commanders you control have hexproof. Yeah, let's play this in a partner deck. Seems pretty good. I'm guessing Thrashios did really not need this. Paradox Zone, 4 in a green, and I say that very sarcastically, by the way, about Thrashios, because I know how busted he is in CEDH. Paradox Zone, 4 in a green for an enchantment, enters the battlefield with a growth counter on it. At the beginning of your end step, double the number of growth counters on Paradox Zone, then create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of growth counters on Paradox Zone. That was a lot. Let me catch my breath. And say Doubling Season and all the other doubling spells just go wildly bonkers with this card. I love the idea, and it's going to happen. Ruxa, Patient Professor, 2 in double green, for a legendary Bear Druid, 4/4. Oh, this guy, yes. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, return target creature card with no abilities from your graveyard to your hand. Creatures you control with no abilities get +1/+1. It took this long for Wizards to do something about Murraganda Petroglyphs. I say with complete irony and shock on my face. A complete ironic shock, actually, on my face. Anyway, not booping again for silly reasons. And you have creatures you control with no abilities assign their combat damage as though they weren't blocked. Yeah. Okay, somebody's building this deck. I don't know who, somebody's building it. Not me, but somebody. Sequence Engine, 2 and a green for an artifact. X tap, exile target creature card with mana value X from a graveyard. And, yep, you can figure out what it does with the fractal token. You get that many counters. That's good if you're going to do it. And finally, Oversimplify. No, not finally, there's another card. 3 green, blue. Sorcery, exile all creatures. Each player creates a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, puts a number of +1/+1 counters on it, equal to the total power of creatures they control that were exiled this way. Nah. Well, maybe, because you can mouse the tokens. So there's that. It's all right. Sorry. Interesting removal for green and blue. Finally. Oh my God. Finished with all this. Finally take a break for a little bit. Eat something, maybe. Geometric Nexus. 2 mana artifact. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, put a number of charge counters on Geometric Nexus equal to that spell's mana cost. And 6 tap, remove all the charge counters from it. Fractal token. You know what it does with the fractal token for the X. I don't have to tell you, because these are all straightforward cards. They're good cards. They're cards that are going to see a lot of play and people are going to have a lot of fun with, but they're very straightforward for the decks that they built with them. And I mean, I guess that's good. I shouldn't really complain about it. But yeah, so there's a lot of new fun stuff in this commander deck, in these commander decks, and that's it for me. I'm wiped out, and I still have 3 set booster boxes to open. So there's that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for doing all the cool YouTube stuff that I know you guys are doing because you're cool, right? And yeah, that's about it. So peace them out. Yeah, peace them out.